Since I am older than you, I feel compelled to correct you. In 1970, 1980, and again around the end of 1970, the price of silver was $50 per ounce. Those Hunt brothers, you may recall. Do the stories ring a bell? You know, the Hunt brothers were extremely wealthy. They were the heirs of a Texas oil magnate named H.L. Hunt, who was once considered the wealthiest man in the world. Furthermore, the Hunt brothers were conservative Christians who were extremely devoted to their faith. It was also their understanding that the Bible mandated that silver be priced at the same level as gold. On top of that, they were literate. They could pull out the Wall Street Journal and exclaim, horrified. Because of their large financial resources and healthy profit margin, they continued to buy. Consequently, they persisted in purchasing until the regulations were altered in the pits in Chicago, rendering the Hunt brothers unable to satisfy the margin calls any longer. The result was a terrible bear market and a precipitous plummet in the price of silver. However, that occurred many years ago. Only rarely since then has the price of silver returned to that level. In my opinion, silver will return to that location at some point. Silver will reach new heights at some point. When exactly is something I will have to watch your show to discover. Probably gold as well. However, I'm primarily interested in purchasing silver right now. Considering the historical context, silver is currently quite cheap. Both will be successful though, because we live in a society where money can be printed with relative ease. Keep it in mind. There will be no restrictions on paper currency in 2026, 2020, thus it will be in a state of severe stress. The idea of a sound money would never be uttered by any national bank. Even before he finished his speech, he would be fired from his job that day. The issue is right there. For that reason, I have some gold and silver in my possession, and I would want to be able to purchase more when the chance presents itself. What I just stated isn't acceptable, Jimmy. I am completely opposed to it. Those are the facts, though, as I gaze out the window. I take it you're saying I should liquidate my gold and silver? No matter where you are in the globe, I read the same newspaper as you. To me, there is no use in selling my precious metals. At this time, no, so far as I can tell from the newspapers I peruse. Additionally, I am aware that numerous governments across the globe believe they have complete autonomy. If you want to know what's going on in the middle of the country, or in Washington, D.C., you can choose either location. In their minds, everything is fine. No need to fret, they would advise, if you perused Washington. Everything will be okay. We are armed to the teeth and have complete freedom of action. Seeing the world in its current condition makes me very concerned. And I will remain so long as people believe they can do anything they want. These days, it seems like everyone has a gun. Lots of people are currently in deep financial debt, and the markets don't seem to mind either. Looking out the window, I can see that everyone is pleased, both in Asia and around the world. I say it again. Someone should ask questions when everyone is pleased. All these indications of weakness can actually be seen as bullish at times. Assuming things are terrible now, they can only get better. Therefore, let's all chip in and make a purchase. I do not hold that opinion. As for me, I'm not going to buy in bulk. Absolutely not. Many global markets are at record highs, as far as I can tell. And I'll say it again. I think someone should ask questions even when everyone is happy. The only markets I'm familiar of that aren't currently skyrocketing are one or two. Shanghai was brought up. Uzbekistan is another country I'll talk about, because it's where I have shares and where I made a recent purchase. The majority of global markets, however, have been rising since 2009. My friend Jim, That's 16 years straight. It's been quite some time. It is the longest in the United States history. Maybe this will continue indefinitely. Rest assured, Mr. Trump will assure you. He is in complete command of the situation. Even when Mr. Trump reassures me, my anxiety grows. So I'm hoping it continues indefinitely, though I seriously doubt it. That has never been the case. I have a question for you or a point to make regarding that. Perhaps this time around, things will be different because governments and central banks all over the globe are still injecting money into the economy. As an example, in 2022 to 2023, when a number of regional banks in the United States experienced problems, including the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, the Federal Reserve stepped in immediately and pumped billions, if not trillions, of dollars into the system. Also, no problems whatsoever. Are you of the belief that this will simply persist and that the market may never recover? Or, whenever we observe a reversal, such as in April and May, it presents a tremendous opportunity to purchase. Apparently, you implied that maybe things are different this time. In fact, that's what they've done from the beginning. For the entire time that I've worked for central banks, all they've known is to print more money, inject more money into the system, rescue the system, rescue my job. Keeping their jobs is more important to them than the system. Once again, that is their behavior. As far as I'm concerned, that is identical. That, I might stress, is their long-standing practice, dating back to the inception of central banks. For the sake of argument, let's pretend they keep doing it and insist it's different. The system is now under our control. Rest assured. At this point, everything is fine and different. My advice is to become exceedingly concerned in the event that they make such a claim, which they will do if they haven't already. Because I'm familiar with it. I mean, I've watched this film previously. The ending of this film seems familiar to me. Plus, I'm well aware that it's always failed miserably. Once again, I can predict that it will end poorly. I don't know when your show will conclude, but I will watch it to find out. That's my problem. Just give us a deadline and we'll be ready to go. Falling 50%, 60%, or 70% is the usual trajectory of a bear market. At times, even there are equities that fall by 90%. Even higher flowers typically fall even lower. The next US bear market will see a precipitous decline of at least 70%. I can assure you of that. As far as I'm concerned, it will be the worst thing that has ever happened to me. My age is more than yours. Since this has been the greatest period of time without an issue, it must be the worst thing that has ever happened to you. The problem is becoming increasingly worse. It depends on the commenter if I should say longer or worse. Worse, in my opinion, is that Alan Greenspan and the rest will assure you that there is no need to be concerned. Nothing is out of our hands. Alan Greenspan? You've heard of him? He's no longer working there, but I have faith that he'll be able to reassure you if you give him a call. Nothing is out of hand. He will still tell others that, regardless of whether you contact him or not. Oh my God, you must be frightened if you call him up and tell him that. You won't just hang up and call someone else. You won't have to worry about anything if you call and assure him everything is fine. We're handling everything with ease. I'll also give you a raise and a promotion. They'll promise. Also, Jim, I didn't mean pull back when I said that the S&P 500 might fall by 70% in the stock market. The bear market, as I predicted, would occur. I see. My apologies. In a downturn or bear market, maybe I'm having an impact. I see. However, you are implying that you anticipate a 70% decline from the Nasdaq or the S&P 500's all-time highs. I understand. It always has, I told you, Jimmy. Perhaps things are different now. Much obliged. Possibly Mr. Greenspan is correct. On this occasion, it's distinct, rest assured. That 70% drop will never happen again. It has always done this, though, and I will say it again. According to Mr. Greenspan, this time is different. Rest assured. Even while I wish everything were different, I can assure you that it is not. This will occur in the next bear market as it has in every previous one. The United States debt is currently so outrageously high, which is why I say that. The United States has the highest national debt in recorded history, and it continues to rise at an alarming rate. Therefore, a terrible bear market is inevitable. So, perhaps I'm mistaken. Potentially, the central bankers have a point. The issue has been resolved. Yet, I stress again, that is what has transpired in the past. This was transcribed using turboscribe.ai. Remove this message by subscribing to Unlimited.